Hey, good morning and welcome back to another edition of Driving with Dan. Today I'd like to address a small issue and hopefully keep this kind of short, but I want to address just the basic edition of the Bible. I'm not talking about translations, but I'm sure that might come up a little. Just the way the Bible is written. A lot of today's teachings in today's churches, dispensationalism, whatever way you want to look at it, however they are preaching the Bible today. We need to keep in mind when the Bible was written, it was written in Hebrew or Aramaic, Greek, and the way they wrote, they didn't use punctuation, spaces, chapters and verse, nothing like we do today. Everything was just blended together, one long line, filling a page. During the translation, which I understand, they did it to make it easier to relate to and to pinpoint and to read. But by doing so, by creating chapter and verse, they many times took away from the context. This is why it's very important to read the Bible in context and to always go back and forward at least one verse or chapter from what you're reading. I'm currently in a conversation dealing with this about the Spirit of the Lord being poured out upon mankind in Joel. But if you go back a chapter, you'll find out where this kind of comes into play with the time frame. Sorry, my camera's sliding. That this shows this is not a future event. This is an event that already took place. That it was actually talking about the destruction of Jerusalem by the Roman Empire. So when you're looking at the Bible and you're reading the Bible and you're using it and going through for especially prophecy, you need to always read in context. Extremely important. The cut from chapter to chapter can many times, and it's called contextual bias, but many times it can actually take away from what's being said. So I ask when you're reading to always keep in mind to when you're talking about a verse and discussing, debating, whatever, make sure you read prior and after, because you may miss something that wasn't there in just the verse or the chapter that you're reading at hand. So please keep this in mind when reading the Bible, when discussing things, that you always have to remember context is key. You do this, very well have a much better understanding of what the Bible's telling us, and you'll see that, especially when talking about prophecy, that these things are not talking about a future event. They're talking about many things that have already happened, or most things that have already happened. So just something to keep in mind, something to maybe take on to your pastor or a friend or a family member. And I think that's going to cover it. I hope you all have a very blessed day. Hope you're doing well. God bless. We'll see you next time on Driving with Dan.